We want to factor this polynomial, and this is a trinomial. If you think back to when we multiply binomials together, sometimes we'd have like terms, and when we did have like terms, our final answer was a trinomial. So when we go to factor these trinomials, first of all, we'll look for a GCF, a greatest common factor. But here, our greatest common factor is 1, or we could just say that it doesn't have a greatest common factor. And factoring out that 1 would not help us get anywhere. But the reason I wanted to have you think of that is our final answer on these, when we factor these trinomials, most of the time will be a binomial times a binomial. So this is kind of like the reverse of the FOIL method. Now this term will tell us the product of two numbers. And again, if you're thinking back to what we did in the FOIL method, this term will tell us the sum of those same two numbers. So we want to think of two numbers that when you multiply they get 24, and when you add you get 10. So we want to multiply two numbers and get positive 24, add those same two numbers and get positive 10. Now if you think of the factors of 24, 1 and 24, and it may help you if you list out the factors of 24, so I'll go ahead and do that. And we'll list them out in pairs. So factors of 24, we could take 1 and 24. We could do 2 and 12. 3 times 8. 4 times 6. And so those are the factors of 24, the numbers that when you multiply them together you get 24. We're looking for the ones that have a sum of 10. Well, that's 4 and 6. So we're going to factor this. Now again, this is the reverse of the FOIL method. A times A, first times first, gives us this term. A times A is A squared. And we know we're going to have positive numbers because we're multiplying them and getting positive 24. We're adding them and getting positive 10. So this sign here tells us same signs are different. If it's positive, that means we have the same signs down here. And when we look over here, this tells us the sign of the one with the greater absolute value. Some people say the bigger number. So we know that we're multiplying two numbers, and those two numbers are both the same sign, and when we look at it, the bigger one has to be positive, so we're multiplying 4 and 6. This is our answer from the factoring. That's our final answer. But I just want to show you that it does in fact check. So if we did the FOIL method here, if we multiplied, we'd do first times first. A times A, that's A squared. If we did outside, O for outside, A times 6 is 6A. I stands for inner, 4 times A is 4A. And then L stands for last, 4 times 6 is 24. If we combine our like terms here, 6A plus 4A, that's 10A. And we bring everything else down. And you'll notice that we have exactly what we started with. So this is in fact the correct factorization for that trinomial.